What if you turn hardship into greatness, anger into serenity? Everything changes. Make your life a masterpiece. Life is not meant to be easy. Life is meant to make you grow. Welcome back to Conflict Mastery, where we really turn adversity into greatness, adversity into an opportunity, and opportunity into an adversity, because we need both in order for us to change, to re-question what you're actually doing. Today, critical thinking. What is critical thinking? Why is critical thinking important, especially when it comes to conflict? And lastly, how we actually think critically about whatever we face in our lives, especially conflict. Because if we start really truly think critically about conflict, then we start appreciating that there is in anything in life that we face, there's a positive and negative. There's a cost and a benefit. And therefore, it's really up to us to look for the costs, but also for the benefits, no matter what. So, what is critical thinking? A lot of people think like critical thinking is that you look at something, and because the crowd says it is so, you do basically the same thing. And you feel like, well, you are on the right side. Critical thinking is really to look at anything. It doesn't matter what in life. To look first for the positive and look for the negative. Truly look, whatever, even though you might strongly disagree with it, look for the positive, the benefits, and look also for the cost, for the negative side of it. And ultimately, you look at both of them, you hold both of them in your hands, and you contemplate them, and then you go a level deeper and say, okay, now, do the costs outweigh the benefits, and vice versa? And ultimately, you can come to a conclusion and tell yourself, okay, possibly in respect of society or education, this might be more a cost than a benefit. Or it might be actually in the long run more a benefit than a cost. So that is really how we look at critical thinking. So that is critical thinking. Critical thinking is taking apart whatever it is you look at and actually appreciate the positive, but also the negative it ultimately entails. And then you can do a cost-benefit analysis, and then you can really tell me that you really thought critically about something. Because anything, especially conflict, has its cost, but also benefits. If we do not have any costs, in other words, if we don't have any conflict, we will not change. We won't change. We won't self-reflect. And again, self-reflection is the highest form of learning, according to Confucius. So therefore, it is necessary. Why? Because life is not meant to be easy. Life is meant to make you grow. And so is conflict. Conflict is not meant to be easy. Conflict is meant to make you and everyone around you and involved to grow. That is really what life is. Life is constant growth. As Heraclitus said, you never ever step into the same river twice, because it's always changing. So change is the only constant, and so is conflict. In other words, it's up to us how we face and embrace our life, especially when it comes to conflict. So how do you do it? Face a conflict and immediately zoom out and look at the two perspectives. Look at the positive and the negative. And focus first and foremost in order for you to really have and keep a balanced mind so you can actually respond to the best of your ability. Look first and foremost for the positive. Look and listen truly and deeply, and look at the good points that actually the person makes. Even it might not be a good point at all. You might completely reject it, and yet you reframe it. You think critically because you see the costs, but also the benefits that this situation entails, no matter what. How do you take control in your conflict? What is control? Why is control important? And how to take control back and take it in your own hands in order for you to constructively engage in a conflict situation. Control is really what you control. In other words, it's your response to the world. There is only so much you can control, but what you always can control is really your response in conflict, how you respond to someone who accuses you unjustly. But it's up to you. You have it in your hand. It's really powerful. You know why we usually fear so much flying with an airplane is not because it's dangerous, but it's because it is the fact that we are not in control. Whereas when we drive a car, we have it in our hands. We actually tell the car if we should go left or right or straight. So that's why we feel actually more secure, even though we know statistically speaking that driving a car is much more dangerous than being on an airplane and crossing the Atlantic. Again, it comes back to control. So therefore, it's so important to really take back your control. So what is control? Control is your understanding and your awareness that you can only control so much. In other words, it's your response to the world. You cannot control the world outside of you, but you can always control how you respond to the world outside of yourself. And of course, you can always control your inward world, your infinite universe that you have within. So therefore, control is crucial, and the awareness that you can actually control it, because it will change the dynamic. It will change the way you see and interact and manage and embrace conflict in a crucial way. So how do you do it? One aspect is you reframe of whatever you face in conflict. In other words, conflict is a source of growth. Why? Because you're controlling it. You simply control the way in which you see and perceive conflict. Again, conflict is a process in which two or more people engage in a perceived diversion of goals, values, and actively try to obstruct each other from achieving these values/goals. So therefore, if you reframe it, if you see it as something that actually has more benefits than costs, you take control of it and you start seeing it as an opportunity rather than something that puts you down. You don't see it as an adversity necessarily, but rather as an opportunity for you to really start growing in your life. So make sure You reframe, you rethink whatever you face, especially when it comes to conflict. When you face a conflict, when you're confronted with something that is at first glance very, very negative, reframe it and say immediately within yourself, in your thoughts, because you control your thoughts. Again, it's about what you do within, how you respond, because that's in your hands. That you really start controlling what is in your sphere of influence, as Stephen Covey so brilliantly laid out in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and First Things First. Start taking control back of how you think about conflict. Reframe it, rethink of the way you think of conflict, because life is really what you make of it and not what happens to you. But everything happens for you. That's why knowledge matters. Make your life a masterpiece. Visit now programs.the-ykm.com. Meant to make you grow.